Hi, I'm Kelly Thompson. I'm a leadership coach. Today we're talking about maybe even a word that you've never heard of that I've only actually come to know here in the last several months, and that is liminal space. Yes, liminal space. You're probably like, oh my gosh, what is this woo-woo stuff? But before you go there, I want you to maybe recognize that you've probably been in liminal space. You just didn't know you were there. It probably just felt like that moment of like yucky transition where the old world as you know it no longer fits. Maybe through a choice of your own, that old world doesn't exist anymore. You got laid off from a job, a relationship suddenly ended. You maybe have discovered that something's not right for you. So you know that that old world doesn't fit, but the new world, what you think you're supposed to be doing, isn't quite here yet. And I love how Richard Rohr describes liminal space. And he says, it's a place we are betwixt and between the familiar and the completely unknown. And there alone, our old world is left behind while we are not yet sure of what that new existence will be. I've been in liminal space, guys, and it doesn't feel good because you know what? The ego hates ambiguity. The ego hates not knowing. We hate not knowing what our lives are going to be like, what the next step is going to be, especially if something has changed in your career. Many women come to me because they find themselves kind of on the edge of liminal space. They realize that maybe the life that they've been living up till now is someone else's life. It's according to someone else's script. Who they thought they were or what they thought they should be doing with their jobs, their careers, their lives just doesn't fit anymore. What they thought they needed just doesn't make sense. But they're stuck in this weird spot because they don't exactly know what the future is. They know that the future is probably going to be different than the past. Maybe they need to change industries, a whole new career. They need to walk into a whole new different lifestyle, but there's just no clarity on what that looks like. And that lack of clarity can feel really scary. I remember when I went through a huge transition in my career where I kind of woke up one day and realized that the career that I had been in for 12 years just didn't fit anymore. It was freaked me out because that was the career I was supposed to love, I was supposed to have, I was supposed to keep. It looked good on paper, supposedly it fit everything, but it just didn't feel right. I knew I needed to do something different, but I didn't know what that different was. And that was scary because I hate not knowing. So how can you manage that liminal space? How did I manage it? How do my clients manage it? One of the first things that's really helpful is just to sit down and get really clear about your values. Oftentimes you can find that the old world doesn't fit anymore because it's not in alignment with your values. And you can do this by just asking yourself, well, what really agitated me? What's agitating me that makes me realize that this old world doesn't fit anymore? For me, it was recognizing that my job didn't provide me the creativity that I valued. For sometimes, when I was making big changes like that, it didn't fit into the family value that I was really looking for. It wasn't, meeting my learning needs, which is another value for me. So for you, ask yourself, what is my old situation? What's really rubbing me the wrong way? That might give you an indication of what you value and something's out of alignment for you. The other thing that's really helpful is just to get really present. I know that it's tempting to panic, but just to get really present with leaning into your intuition, your still small voice, and just kind of noticing what seems true for you. What little nudges are coming up? What little flashes of insight are coming up for you? One of the things that can be really helpful when you narrow down your values so you can make decisions that are aligned with them going forward, and you start to trust in your intuition, asking yourself, like, what are my natural gifts and talents? What comes really easy to me? When do I feel in flow? What just feels easy and natural and magnetic? And when you compare those two together, your values plus your natural intuition, talents, and gifts, you can note those and say, I will make decisions, small, brave steps in this kind of transitional period, liminal space, that are only aligned with these things. When I've been in liminal space and I had no idea what the future held and what my, a year from now was going to look like, I used my values as a guide to do the next right thing. If that next little small choice didn't align with my values, the answer was no. And when things came to me, when opportunities came to me or how I should move forward, if they aligned with my values, I said yes. And it makes this confusing time a little bit more clear because we can start to dig down and get clear about what matters to us. Sometimes in liminal space, it's the first time we've honestly listened to our still small voice and what feels true for us. It's a great time to start setting boundaries aligned with our values and communicating what we're willing to do and what life looks like for us moving forward. If you'd like more information about my coaching programs or more information about other weekly topics, you can go to my social media channels at Kelly Rae Thompson or check out my programs at kellyraythompson.com.